SIMPtuations.
Alright, so here's what happened. A few years ago, I finally started getting buns from this chick that I was attracted to. Like, I didn't think it was going to happen, but it finally happened. You know, she gave me a shot, and at the time, I thought I was the only one. I thought it was just me. But now that I look back on things, not only did she give me a shot, and not only was I on her roster, but she had me on her bench. And she had me on her bench for a minute, and I didn't even know it. So even though I never dictated the flow of the offense, and even though I never was the MVP, I ended up clocking some serious minutes with them buns. So I found out that I was on her bench about a week probably after I got the buns. And we had a good first scrimmage, like it was a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of cardio, She tapped out before me, I didn't get a chance to finish. And, essentially I outperformed her. I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you how the story goes. All right. So the following week, I knew I had to go out of town, right? I knew I was going out of town on travel. And I was afraid that I didn't rack up enough minutes to build up enough rapport to continue getting the buns when I came back. So I was afraid that, while I was afraid that while I was out of town, that some other dude would come in and come take my minutes. So I tried to text to set up another scrimmage before going out of town on my trip, and she didn't respond. So, but like, you know how it is, like when you go out of town on travel and it dawns on you that you left the box of cereal open, and all you can think to yourself is, damn, man, the ants and the roaches gonna get to that shit. Well, that's the same way I felt when I left old girl to go out of town on my trip. Like I was mid-flight, and all I could envision were these dudes, approaching her like the ants and the roaches approaching the cereal box. I was like, damn, they gonna get in that, So, so when I was on travel visiting somewhere else, I was focused on her buns in another state. I was focused on buns here, and I was traveling here. So just hold on to that, because we're going to come back and circle back and talk about that. So I get back from my trip, and a few weeks later, I start getting the booty call text from my chick. Or not my chick. I start getting the booty call text from the chick, And we all know what the booty call text is, right? Booty call text basically is, it's either an emoji, or it's a smiley face, or it's a, hey, what you doing, with no punctuation. It's kind of like the bat symbol, right? It's like, just bring your ass here. Like, that's kind of like what the booty call text is. It's like the gesture that the coach makes to signal someone to come off the bench to come in and get in the game, right? So I start getting the booty call text from the chick, and I start going over there, and I increase my bun time, So even though I clocked a lot of minutes with them buns, I was still a simp, and here's why. All right. So first off, I was afraid, or I was more concerned about making her roster than I was about creating my own roster. All right. So you got to keep in mind, even though we had our first scrimmage in our first session, there were no contract talks. There were no contract negotiations. I was a free agent. You know what I'm saying? So I should have been more focused on getting my roster set up and living my life free, But instead, I was trying to try out and get on her roster and shit. All right. Second place I messed up at was I texted her first, like I was the top performer. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm the top performer, I shouldn't have to contact anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's on you to come get at me. So I should have played my hand differently, and I should have, tried to Look, I shouldn't try to do anything. Shit. I should have I should have known that I had the leverage, and I should have allowed her to contact me first. And if she didn't, cool, fuck it. She don't contact me first. No big deal. So, but at the end of the day, I had the leverage. You know what I'm saying? So if I didn't contact her, maybe she goes, "Hey, why isn't he contacting me?" Okay, well, maybe I have to contact him, and then maybe she sets up another scrimmage before I go out of town. You know what I'm just saying? And third place I messed up at was I was focused on the buns in another state while I was on travel. You know, so I should have just accepted the fact that old girl's probably getting bust down by the dudes that was in that state, and there's nothing I could do about it. I should have just accepted that fact. And I should have focused on the buns on where I was traveling to, or better yet, fuck the buns. I should have probably have just been bun free and enjoyed my trip and focused on having a good time. So the conclusion, or to conclude, or in conclusion, you never stress over the buns. All right, the best kind of buns to receive are the buns that fall from the sky freely like manna into your lap unexpectedly. Why? Because they're unexpected, right? It's always good to have a pleasant interruption in life rather than to be focused on something that you may or may not achieve. All right? So that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.